Alright, so we have the two sides and the two middle, or the one middle. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut a notch in the sides here. And one thing I'm looking for is if this is being pushed in the middle, is that going to bow in? So that's the side I want to cut my notch. And I want the notch to be basically the same height, somewhere in the middle. And knife safety, always cut away if you can possibly do it. If you can't cut away, don't cut. Okay, so let's line that up with that. Since this is straight, it doesn't matter so much where I'm cutting. Let's cut there. Alright, and it doesn't have to be exactly exact once it's done, but it needs to be in the right general area, because you're going to be sending a beam across. Alright, so let's start with this one here. You want to do controlled cuts on this, no hard wax. And what you're trying to do is create a groove that it can fit into. What you're trying to not do is go so far in that it weakens the wood. That's not a problem on the larger piece. But on the smaller piece that I have here, that does become an issue. You want a groove that is nice and evenly patterned to the centerpiece you're going to be making over here, which takes a little bit more work, so that when it fits in, it just doesn't want to move. It doesn't want to go anywhere. It stays nice and rigid. Alright, so that's right there. Okay. This one I want to go deeper in as I can. A nice deep V is excellent. So that will keep it much more stable. Alright, well, I'm going to stop there, and I can revisit that if it needs more cutting. Now for the more challenging part, which is the center portion. And for that, it's challenging simply because you want to have these angled slots that will fit into your V, and that can be kind of hard to shave. It really can. In fact, I am probably going to use a little batoning just to speed that process up a little bit. This is where a smaller baton would come in handy. I'm going to use my knee, which is not super safe. Helping to position it in place as I lightly baton it, because I don't want to go crazy on this. I'm trying to get the general shape down first. Then I can do some more detail work. But I can't really do the detail work until I get the general shape down. The hardest part about the center piece is getting it to the exact length that it needs to be for the hacksaw blade itself. There. You notice I'm using my full body to make these cuts. Trying to avoid using individual smaller muscles and use your core muscles to do these bigger cuts. Well, that's a start. I'm gonna have to do some minor, finer work on that. Twig is in my way. All right. There we go. This is the hard part right here, is getting that notch to a fine enough point. You don't really have really good mechanics. It's a mechanics issue of strength at this tip. The knife doesn't want to give up its secrets, as it were. Right at the tip, you don't have any purchase to make that square. Let me put this away and see how this lines up at all. All right, that seems like that would fit in there really nice. Now, let's get the ends prepped for their true calling. Let's see here how we have that situated. So that's situated like so. And I think the way, this isn't really clean on this side. I prefer my hacksaw on the clean side. In fact, I can clean these up even more. So it has a nice flush cut, flush movement. And so what we're going to do, I'm going to very gently, and I'm trying to do this carefully. That's relatively flat. Doesn't have to be super flat. Is going to put a notch in here corresponding to that line, to that notch up, the other notch I cut. Should be about perpendicular. Alright, here's a nice safety. Cut one. Cut right next to that. There's a little bit of opening. Doesn't have to be much. Just want to make it a little easier to get your blade in there. And by blade I mean hacksaw blade. That's got to fit in there. Alright, so that's split really nice. And just to make things easier, so it doesn't slip out, is I'm going to cut in, and I don't want to follow through. I just want it to have a little something for that nail to sit on, to perch upon, so it's not going to move. Not that critical that I do that, but it's nice. Alright. So there's that. And let's do something similar for this one. Again, make sure that perpendicular as best you can. Okay, safety. Not being super safe when I do that, but I'm being very careful. Is what I'm really doing. It's not in a horrible way, a horrible place. Alright, that should create a little notch for the nail to sit in. Alright,